Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are ready for the final of the Hong Kong Sevens, Argentina versus France. And if you told the French that they would be in the final, they probably wouldn't have believed you after the group stage. They lost their first two games. They won their next one, and because of points differential and how close they were in those contests, they qualified. They beat New Zealand in the quarters. They beat Fiji in the semis. They have not had an easy run, but Les Bleus are now in that final up against the Argentines, though, a side that are undefeated up to this stage, so an extremely different road to the final. We see the national anthems taking place at the moment. Marcos Maneta is in tears. This one means a lot to the Argentines. We must remember that the French, they were able to beat Argentina just before the Olympic Games. And Argentina at this stage, they are top dogs. They're the ones that everyone are trying to take down, and in their starting lineup for this contest, Santiago Mari, Luciano Gonzalez, Jermaine Schultz, who had an absolutely tremendous game in the semi-final, Marcos Maneta, Joaquin Palandini, Matthias Azutzuk, and Santiago Alvarez, the last man in the starting side. For the French, it is Antoine Zedar, Pauline Riva, Andy Timo, Artaud, Caraba, Arfiel, who has been scoring tries for fun throughout this Hong Kong Sevens, and Liam Delamere, the last man in the starting side. So two stacked teams, two sides with a huge amount of potential, and at the moment, Argentina, they are sitting top of the bunch in number one. France are sitting, I believe, about fifth or so in the overall rankings, maybe even a little bit lower. So a lot of ground can be made up if they are able to win this. We have got the Argentina 28 to the 24 of the French, says 9 months ago, and with a relatively high-scoring game. I mean, Argentina, I've mentioned this stat multiple times, but it is just insane. Their points differential throughout their first three games was over 100. And we talked about New Zealand, how many points they have been able to score as of late for the women's side of things. And, you know, Argentina are right up there in terms of those type of numbers, 30 points on average or so per one of their matches. Vive la France, says TH, Argentina class, time to knock over the French, says Ricardo. But if we're talking about an underdog story of this whole Sevens competition, I don't think there is a bigger one that can be stated than what the French have done. Like I said, lost their first two games, but because they were within 7, got a bonus point in both of them, which then put them through as the best ranked third place team. And then alongside that, you've got beating New Zealand, beating Fiji, the two most decorated sides in men's sevens history. And then, now they have to play Argentina, who are currently the top dogs, like I said. The best side on the circuit in terms of points, in terms of what they've been able to do recently result-wise. It's a mountain to climb, and we are just about to see it. The French national anthem has been sung. The Argentine one was sung first. And hi again, Vamos Argentina, says Emmy. I will mention for anyone who is just tuning in now and wondering what is next for these two sides. Of course, first they have to get through the final, but next week we are going to Singapore for the Sevens. Not personally, but this is where the location of the Sevens will be taking place. And we're back into the action of all the group stages. So will also help us confirm who will be playing up against who in the next round. France and Argentina, they should be in separate groups now, with them finishing 1 and 2. I've just said there, a new champion in Hong Kong will soon be crowned. Neither of these sides have been able to win in Hong Kong. In Argentina, I think it said that in the last 9 quarterfinals in Hong Kong, they have been knocked out of the competition. So this is further than they've been in a long time. Argentina kicking off from left to right, and we are underway for the men's sevens final, and retained by Argentina. Azutzuk goes off to Jermaine Schultz, who was absolutely everywhere in the semi-final up against Australia. Now going off to the left-hand side. That one's going to pop up for Azutzuk. Goes on the outside to Luciano Gonzalez. Back across Azutzuk. Marcos Maneta, he was in tears during the national anthem. Means a lot to this Pumas side. Jermaine Schultz tries to show his pace down the wing, and he is bundled into touch by Caraba, and who got himself actually a yellow card in the semi-final up against New Zealand. Semi-final up against Fiji, it would have been actually. The women's seven, the only two teams get first and second all over all once the Singapore Sevens, even if neither team win. any of the games and play for 11th and 12th, New Zealand and Oz. Says Novmum, Andy Timo. Now sitting 10 metres out from the line. And Vamos Argentina, says Damien. And Vamos Argentina Carajo, says Diago. Now inside of their own 22 here, France looking to drive down the wing with Afil, who keeps the ball in the field of play, but Luciano Gonzalez picks it up, bumps off the French defence. Once again, they have opted to go with Jordan Sefo off their bench rather than in their starting side. Marcos Moneta running sideways, advantage in favour of Los Pumas. Going one more, Santiago Mari. Possibly should have gone across, but it's going to work out anyway. Palandini. Oh, is that double movement? I think he might have been tackled first. He's celebrating the try, but the TMO already involved for this final. Might not be for the last time either. Let's go France, says Daniel Wright. So he was tackled. Oh, see, they're saying he wasn't held, but there was a French player pretty much on him. And Antoine Zidane, it's going to be no try for the double movement, propelling himself forward. That'll be a disappointing one for Los Pumas. Definitely because I feel if they had passed it wide to the right, yes, it would have been a more challenging kick, but they would have scored in the corner. The crowd are not happy about it. There is controversy. But the TMO and referee feel that there was enough of a tackle made by the French player that it warranted not allowed another chance at the line. France have won both meetings this season, both in Vancouver. There you go. Something that you wouldn't really expect to see, to be honest. I would have said off current form, Argentina. I mean, they've been beating everyone, but obviously not Les Bleus. Now France have got themselves the line out. Andy Timo takes it nicely, 40 metres out from their own line here for the French, going across field. Caraba going to Foy again. Now Artaud going across to the side. Delimere gets it across to Andy Timo. Oh, gets himself falling almost the wrong way. Could have led to the turnover. Sitting around 40 metres out from their line, still here France. But they are having a patient build, a big run from Caraba. Luciano Gonzalez told to get out of it, gives away the penalty. The French decide to take the quick tap from Foy. Now running hard at the line. Oh, tackle attempted on Reve. He didn't have the ball, so they're going to say it is a penalty. Both teams are chasing their first win at the Hong Kong Sevens. There's another stat that's just come up at 4 minutes remaining in this first half. Still 0-0 between these two sides. And Vamos Argentina, says Snoopy in there. Looks like France are opting for the scrum. Maybe just to try and break up the structure. Argentina are currently on a 15-game winning streak, dating back to pool play in Perth. There's another stat that's just come out. So pretty much that tells you who's been winning the most recent competitions. The fact that since Perth we've had Vancouver as well as, I think there's been one more as well, has it? I could be wrong. It was Vancouver. Oh no, it's just Vancouver, this one, and of course all throughout Perth. They were successful too. Now the scrum just taking a little bit of time. Referee making sure that it is set. It's interesting that they've gone with the youngest referee for this final. And one of the more inexperienced one, a lot of pressure on him, but the free kick is awarded to the French. Artaud going across to Pauline Riva, just outside of the 22, takes the contact, gives it away to Los Pumas, who will now look to attack from inside of their 22. Skip pass knocked on by Santiago Alvarez, trying to grubber it for Zidane, and picked up by France. Delimere. Was it knocked on? Referee says no. They're going to go back for the original knock-on, which will mean that France have got themselves the feed. Now just Vancouver, says Max, and Vamos Argentina, says Max Emiliano. 2.5 minutes remaining. A few early errors coming from Argentina, which we aren't used to seeing. Maybe, the fact that they haven't beaten France this year is starting to play on the mind a little bit. There's a bit of pressure on to be able to perform. France have had some brilliant wins, like I mentioned, up against the Fijians. New Zealand, they came back from 14-0 down. That scrum has worked. Artaud goes off to Riva again, looping around. So, tackled again, 10 metres out. They've been told to release it, and another penalty goes the way of the French. That's up to about 4 in a row up against the Argentines. Middle of the field, Zedar. Tackled 15 metres out. He's got the jersey of Jermaine Schultz trying to fire up the big man. Now Riva again going off to the right. This is going towards Afoy, who will look to the corner. Maneta, though, drives him into touch. And also there was a knock on, so they have got the option of both. I believe they will go with the scrum. Maneta is frustrated. Is that because he's got an injury or just because he felt like they shouldn't have been able to get through as easily as they did? Yeah, that looked very close to being out. And Los Pumas, says Jose. And there too. A lot of greats watching on. Sarevi being one. He is looking for some action, looking for some tries. He hasn't had one yet in the final. That's sitting number 1 for the Argentines. 5th ranked France. So a win here would definitely boost them up a little bit. Shuffle, shuffle. Says Blues Nate. Now, that one's going to be fed in. All early tackle made. And Argentina now. So they will be able to go for the touchline. Just 1 minute left on the clock for this first half. In fact, no, my apologies. They have decided to take the quick tap. Maybe saw a bit of a space on the outside. Luciano Gonzalez, though, getting himself a little bit trapped just out from his own goal line. Not the best pass, almost intercepted from the French. Jermaine Schultz. Now going to be charging down the wing. Andy Timo has to make the tackle there. That was a knock-on the breakdown from Jermaine Schultz. And another error from Argentina. This is very uncharacteristic from Los Pumas, who are normally known for being extremely clinical and making very little errors, whereas in this game they've been riddled with them. Jermaine Schultz here, just with the Andy Timo pressure in the breakdown, just leaves that ball and does let it sneak away. Now 15 seconds remaining of this first half. It does look like France will get the last attacking chance, hoping for France victory for the good of the game. Says Joyce, and that's going to be now knocked on by the French, which brings Argentina a chance in the scrum. It feels a bit flat, the final. It does a little bit, but I think that's also down to both sides. I mean, they've had their fair share of handling errors, and also they just seem to match each other quite well. I believe those other 2 games between Argentina and France this year were relatively close too. And I think we've seen a little bit more of a conservative play from Argentina. Normally they take a few risks and most of them pay off. But in this case, they've gone into their shell a little bit because they don't want to make that massive error that gives the French the try. It's going to be kicked downfield from Luciano Gonzalez, being chased hard by the Argentines. Afoy takes it. Missed tackle from Moneta. French have the option of kicking this ball into touch, falling the wrong way. Argentina, massive counter-ruck. That was played on the ground from Pauline Riva. So the Argentines now get themselves the penalty. We have got the Archie-Barty should have had the Frogs on the hot by now, but now they are going off to the left-hand side here for the Pumas, moving into the 22. 10 metres out from the line. Andy Timo goes for the turnover, and I think he might have just about got it. Yes, he does. And it's going to bounce onto the side of the French. They need a halfback. There was no racing there from Arto. He will kick that ball into touch and it will be halftime 0-0. But a very casual approach from Arto that almost got him in trouble by going a little bit too slow to the breakdown. And we got the Argentine flag from Hugo in there too. But no points have been scored as of yet. If this is the way that it sits at the full-time siren, ladies and gents, we will end up in the scenario of going to golden point. Which, I mean, I can't think of the last time we had a scoreless final. At least up till the full-time siren. And we have got there, I told you, Georgia player of the match. Says Novmum. She mentioned something which was quite interesting during her post-match interview. She said she's probably going to get fined 50% of her match. Or 50% of her salary, which is a bit of a rough one for the woman by the sounds. But definitely after getting man of the match. Surely they can make an exception for that one. Don't know who to cheer for. The French are annoying and Argentina are too good, so don't want them to win, says Annoy. Whoever holds their nerve, says TH, and afternoon Hamish and Rugby Rockers, says Ruth in there too, but the second half not too far away from starting up. I think because of the yellow card, they do get fined. I didn't realize it would be 50%. I feel like that sounds like it's just a good way for the side to make money. But off the bench, Graziano, Tobias Wade, Zangara, Lavien, and Fraha. Only 3 subs for the Argentines, for the French, Garcia, Desiree, and also Cepho. Was there ever a scoreless match at this level, says Robert? We've been close to it recently, but normally there's 1 or 2 tries in the second half, so I think that this game probably going to be pretty similar in that regard. But back in the old school days of Sevens, there's probably been one somewhere along the lines that no one's been able to score for. But second half of this one just about to get underway, Suproof, says Hanoi. Do let me know, ladies and gents, who do you think's going to win? We're 0-0 at the moment. It is anyone's game. And Pauline Riva going to be kicking this one off nicely, taken by Argentina. Santiago Alvarez, 7 minutes to determine who will walk away with that gold medal. Gonzalez going off to Santiago Mari. Cross to the right-hand side, Marcos Mineta. When you need a guy to step up, he can be the guy to do it. Palandini offloads to Alvarez. Skip pass out wide for Luciano Gonzalez. You just feel like there's going to be a line break very soon. Gets his offload to Azadsuk. Nice bump off. And that will be the chance now for Argentina. But they're defended by the French about 30 metres out. I took Argentina based on 0 anything, says Studs Race. Right. Big decision now for Argentina. This is probably a kickable 3 if they actually wanted it. And it sounds crazy to say that in a Sevens game, but it's been so tough to break through. I wonder if either of these sides, when we get closer to the end, might just consider going for any points available. But Argentina, they are going to go for the scrum. Argentina look tough. There's nothing to fault them, says Ruth. And also both good teams. Los Pumas might have the edge, says Ruth there too. And it goes straight through the Pumas, says a Blues Nate. Visits to opposition 22. 3 from Argentina, 2 from the French. Both of these sides have been extremely clinical in their visits throughout the rest of the competition. Greeting from BA, says La Rockif. Welcome in, mate. Hope you're doing extremely well. Hope you're excited for not just this final, but also the Singapore Sevens next week. Alvarez going off the left-hand side. Palandini gets it away to Graziano, who has made his way on. They're going to try and hold him up into a rolling ball. Manages to free up the ball to Palandini again. A little bit of off-the-ball stuff happening on this near side of the field, but the ball is on the far side for Marcos Mineta. 25 metres out. Hands were down, so the penalty goes the way of Argentina again. Marcos Mineta try. Says Blues. Nate Gonzalez almost through. 15 metres out, short side, Moneta dragged down early. Another advantage. Goes the way of the Pumas. Big cylinder dummy from Azadsuk. This is absolutely phenomenal defending from both sides, but now the French will have a yellow card. Argentina don't win, I'll cry for myself, says Robert. And you're looking smooth and creamy. Creamy's an interesting way of describing it. And Argentina need to cut loose, says Fleshin. And be good to see that Argentina 11 playing 12 and 15s, says Hanoi. Now it looks like a bit of tension for Luciano Gonzalez in the lower limb. Looks like the right leg just as he's gone through. Yeah, kind of falls awkwardly on it. The yellow card for Delamere. That is just for repeat infringements, I believe, from the French, as well as slightly high shot. And just playing the 9 as well didn't help them. Discipline at the moment is struggling. Big weekend next week. Doing any Heineken's Cup games? We are indeed. We're going to be doing the Heineken's Champions Cup. We've got the Challenge Cup. We've got the Sevens and Super Rugby. So this weekend was hectic, but we've probably got even more hours next weekend. So, will be interesting. But now Argentina, chance to just go out wide, sending it through the hands to Tobias Wade. Again, just short of the line. That is brilliant defence from France, but they can only hold on so long. And the ball now grounded. Oh, but a push and shove there and going face to face here is Caraba and Graziano. There is feeling out there for this final. Mineta catches Zedar and says, there's no need for that, boys. We'll just go back, although they want to check this. Was there a grounding? Number 1, is the ref going to send 2 men off with yellow cards? Right. Caraba has been called over, same with Graziano. Referee blowing his whistle about 7 times. Meanwhile, they're just playing a little bit of Sweet Child of Mine down the stadium on the speakers. Oh, okay. Caraba, because he dove on the player after he scored the try, referee says it's no need for it. He didn't make a huge amount of contact, but it is still the intent behind it. Oh, yeah, there was a bit of an elbow involved there, so it is going to be the penalty now for Argentina on the halfway line. They miss the conversion. And fantastic name pronunciation. Don't know if it's correct, but it's definitely fantastic. Yeah, there's probably a few rough ones in there, I do have to say. But now chance on the halfway line. And it looks like Argentina will be opting for the scrum. The last 5 penalties, in fact, the last 6 penalties have all been against the French. And that just kind of tells you the drastic nature of momentum. And the first 4 were up against Argentina. But now chance for the Argentines to be able to add more points. They are currently up by 5. Scoreboard is a little bit asleep. But here comes Marcos Moneta. Cuts through. It's going to be the second try of the contest for Argentina. And he will score it between the sticks. So that one play from a young, inexperienced Caraba has just put the trophy one step closer to the Argentines today. And Vamos Pumas, says Emmy. And Mio Moyo, yes boys, says studs raise. But Marcos Moneta cuts through. Momentum swing. We'll give it to Argentina, says Graham. And yeah, now they've got the 12 points on the board. I wish that this one would also show 12 points. We might have to make our own scoreboard here for a second. So while we wait for that one to update, we will go Argentina 12 to the French. I bet you as soon as I put this up, it's going to actually register. There we go. We'll put that up down the bottom. Now, the scoreboard is still going to be a little bit behind. And everyone in the chat, hopefully you're enjoying Amish. Says Ruth and Vamos Argentina. Says Constanza. Hopefully I said that correctly. I think I butchered that, unfortunately, so I do apologise for that pronunciation. There's going to be another knock-on from the French with only 2 minutes remaining. They're in a tough spot now. And they did have a yellow card of Delamere too, so that is just a little bit more to add on to the poor French discipline. 2 minutes 15 left. Amish, do you think the Bulls will win the URC? I think they'll be up there. They're a good side, but it's just whether or not they can find their rhythm at the right time of the comp. But now it's going to be chance here for Argentina to feed the ball. And in fact, the referee is going to give them the penalty for a knee going down. And thanks for your great work, says Ricardo. No worries at all. We are going to be back for Singapore Sevens next week. So be sure to stick around for that. Did you end up getting a new chair, Hamish? My back has been sore just thinking about that wooden chair. You mean this one, the old solid thing that it is? But no fancy chair yet. Although we did an all-nighter last night, and I feel like a fancy, comfy chair would have made me sleep. And Vamos Argentina, says Vanina. And Vamos says Hugo there too. Palandini now to feed this ball into the lineup for Argentina. What was your job before you became a streamer? Same job as I still have now. Oh, that's going to be a free kick going the way of the French, but that is a labourer / kind of builder type of setup. Now, going off to the left-hand side. Caraba. Now off to the right. For the French, they've had a couple late comebacks. Oh, yeah, the OMG Hamish can't do construction work and then sit on that thing. You will regret it when you're older, says James. Going off to the right-hand side. Oh, beautiful offload out the back door. Jordan Cepho. Sitting around the halfway line. France in the finals, my gosh. In 60 seconds, says Blues Nate. And now it's down to 40. Now, good shot. You make decent dollars doing this. Hope so. I'm on we've got 30 seconds then. I will talk about it a little bit. We've only got the final few passes going off to the right-hand side. The French, I believe they don't have enough time now to be able to win this game unless they score right at this very moment. Andy Timo, beautiful flick pass. I don't know if he intended to do so. How much time left? 5 seconds now on the clock. So I believe the Argentines, they will get the title. But the question now, it's going to be the try for France anyway. But it won't make the difference. 3 seconds after the full-time siren. And it means that even though Foy has had quite the great tournament, it won't quite be enough to stop Argentina's momentum. They now make it 16 wins in a row. Marcos Mineta in tears, just as he was before the competition as well. But, I mean, we have seen some brilliant work from the Pumas. They've gone undefeated throughout this comp. Over 100 points in their differential in favour of them early on after their first 3 games. And just like that, 12 points to 7. They get the job done. Too little, too late. And congrats, Los Pumas. That's the top team. Says Studs Race. And we're there, 12-7, says Emmy, and young, or another young talent coming through for the French Academy. Yeah, I think that, honestly, in this game, it sounds harsh. And I think that, like, at the end of the day, France didn't make the most of that first half. But the young inexperience, I do believe, cost them here. You know, and the only way, of course, you get experience is by continuing to play. But a couple of the off-the-ball stuff, you know, that one for Caraba ended up giving away the penalty after Argentina scored the try, and then they scored off that penalty from the halfway line. That's the type of moment that can completely shift a game. You know, if you take away that one, maybe it gets there a little bit closer. But Argentina certainly deserving it after the way that they've been able to go here. And yep, discipline, says Studs Race. And there as well. But the Argentines having a big win over Fiji in their group stage. Bringing up 50-plus points in one of their matches too. And they will go into Singapore with a huge amount of confidence as they move forward. And also we should mention, second place Spain didn't place in the top 3. Third place Fiji didn't place in the top 3. South Africa ranked 4th, did not place in the top 8. Argentina are creating a very substantial gap between them and second place in the overall standings. And with that, if they can do nicely in Singapore too, they will have a lot of confidence moving forward. And Vamos Argentina, says Oscar there, and cheers Hamish, excellent as usual. Says Graham there, and Vamos Pumas, says Mariano. And also we have got Pumas Argentinos, says Walter. So yeah, anyone who is new, of course, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We will be back next week with Argentina's games on the channel. And the best, says Vanina. And also thank you, Hamish, fantastic weekend of commentary. Says a Blues Nate, and yeah, next weekend's going to be just as busy with the Champions and Challenge Cup competition, Super Rugby, the Sevens as well. We have to wait to find out exactly who's going to be playing who, but luckily in the next kind of couple days, we will know what the Sevens schedule for Singapore will be looking like. And Argentina are well and truly celebrating this one, making it back-to-back, in fact 3 in a row now. And gracias, says Federico, and there as well. But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in. Santiago Alvarez, I believe he got man of the match for that final. In fact, maybe he was just the captain for that game. But they've played brilliantly, and they are definitely the team to beat getting into next week. But thank you all very much for being here. If you did enjoy, like I said, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you all for the next one.